my plan. Very well. That was my plan. You thought of that? Very well. That was my plan. Very well. You thought of that? Agreed. That was my plan. Die. Agreed. You thought of that? That was my plan. You thought of that? Agreed. That was my plan. You thought of that? Death rages. That was my plan. Die. Very well. Agreed. That was my plan. You thought of that? Very well. You thought of that? Agreed. That was my plan. Death rages. Very well. Agreed. You thought of that? I hunger. That was my plan. Die. I hunger. You thought of that? Die. Agreed. That was my plan. Very well. That was my plan. Agreed. Your soul is mine. I hunger. Die. You thought of that? You thought of that? I hunger. That was my plan. Death rages. You thought of that? That was my plan. You thought of that? I hunger. Die. That was my plan. You thought of that? Death rages. I hunger. Die. Agreed. That was my plan. Very well. Agreed. That was my plan. I hunger. Very well. That was my plan. Agreed. Very well. Death rages. You thought of that? Death rages. Very well. Die. I hunger. You thought of that? That was my plan. Death rages. You thought of that? Very well. You thought of that? I hunger. Very well. Your soul is mine. Death rages. Die. Agreed. Death rages. That was my plan. I hunger. You thought of that? Die. I hunger. Death rages. Very well. You thought of that? That was my plan. Agreed. First blood. That was my plan. Very well. You thought of that? I hunger. That was my plan. Death rages. I hunger. You thought of that? Agreed. Death rages. That was my plan. You thought of that? Very well. Agreed. That was my plan. I hunger. Death rages. Very well. You thought of that? That was my plan. Very well. You thought of that? Very well. I hunger. Death rages. You thought of that? Very well. Agreed. Very well. You thought of that? That was my plan. Very well. Agreed. That was my plan. Agreed. Die. You thought of that? Very well. That was my plan. You thought of that? Agreed. You thought of that? I hunger. Death rages. Very well. That was my plan. Agreed. Very well. That was my plan. Very well. Agreed. You thought of that? That was my plan. Very well. You thought of that? Die. That was my plan. Very well. I hunger. Agreed. That was my plan. Very well.
Hello.
What is it now? You thought of that?
Welcome to our village.
Greetings. Very well. I must hunt soon. Agreed. You thought of that? Agreed. Very well. That was my plan. You thought of that? That was my plan. Agreed. Greetings. That was my plan. Die. I hunger. Death rages. Very well. You thought of that? Very well. You thought of that? I hunger. That was my plan. Death rages. You thought of that? Agreed. That was my plan. Agreed. That was my plan. Death rages. You thought of that? I hunger. Very well. Agreed. You thought of that? Very well. Agreed. That was my plan. Death rages.
Our allies' tower.
I hunger. You thought of that? Very well. Death rages. I hunger. You thought of that? That was my plan. Your soul is mine. You thought of that? Agreed. Death rages. I hunger. Death rages. You thought of that? That was my plan. Very well. Agreed. Very well. Agreed. You thought of that? That was my plan. That was my plan. Die. Agreed. Very well. I hunger. Agreed. That was my plan. Very well. You thought of that? Die. Agreed. What is it? Your soul is mine. Death reaches. Dominant plan. Very well. That was my plan. Agreed. You thought of that.
Our allies' town is
What?
attacked.
I hunger. Agreed. Very well. Die. Agreed. You thought of that. Death rages. I hunger. Agreed. You thought of that.
Our allies' town needs help.
Die. Death rages. Very well. That was my plan. Very well. Agreed. Thought of that. That was my plan. You thought of that. Die. Death rages. I hunger. Rages. Mega kill. That was my plan. You thought of that. Very well. Agreed. That was my plan. I hunger. Agreed. Very well. That was my plan. Very well. That was my plan. Your soul is mine. Death rages. I hunger. Unstoppable. Rage. You thought of that. Very well. I hunger. That was my plan. Agreed. Very well. Die. Death rages. Die. That was my plan. Agreed. That was my plan. Agreed. You thought of that. Very well. Agreed. You thought of that. That was my plan. Your soul is mine. Agreed. Death rages. Thought of that. That was my plan. Agreed. That was my plan. Very well. That was my plan. I hunger. Agreed. Very well. You thought of that. Agreed. Death rages. Wicked sin. I hunger. That was my plan. You thought of that. That was my plan. Agreed. That was my plan. You thought of that. That was my plan. Die. Monster kill. That. Agreed. That was my plan. 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 You thought of that. Your soul is mine. Death rages. That was my plan. Agreed. Very well. You thought of that. That was my plan. Very well. Agreed. Very well. Agreed. Very well. That was my plan. I hunger. Death rages. Agreed. Die. That godlike. Agreed. plan. Die. Agreed. You thought of that?
Killing spree.
What is your wish? More work? What is it now? That was my plan. Greetings. That was my plan. Dominate that. I hunger. What is it now? Greetings. Thought of that. Agreed. Very well. I hunger. You thought shit.
Our allies' town needs help.
That is my plan. I hunger. You thought of that. Agreed. Very well. Your soul is mine. That was my plan. Agreed. You thought of that. Agreed. That was my plan. Agreed. That was my plan. Very well. That was my plan. Agreed. Very well. Agreed. That was my plan. You thought of that? Oh, yes. Agreed. I hunger. That was my plan. Agreed. I hunger. You thought of that? Agreed.
Our allies' town needs
That
help.
was my plan. Rages. Very well. Agreed. That was my plan. I hunger. The night beckons. You your soul is mine. Rages. I hunger. Rages. Agreed.
Our
That was my
allies' town
plan.
needs help.
Agreed. You thought of unstoppable. I hunger. Very well. Die. Agreed. Very well. You thought of that.
Our allies' town
Very
needs
well.
help.
That was my plan. Wicked sick. Very well. That was my plan. I hunger. I hunger. Very well. Very well. That was my plan. Very well. I hunger. That was my plan. Your soul is mine. I hunger. Killing. Unstoppable. I hunger. Death rages. Dominating. That was my plan. Godlike. That was my plan. Rages. Wicked. That was my plan. You thought of that very well. Monster kill. Thought of that. That was my plan. Agreed. I hunger. Godlike. Triple kill. That was my plan. Ultra kill. Thought of that. Very well. Agreed. I hunger. Very well. Yes. Agreed. I hunger. Search is mine. That was my plan. You thought of that. Death rages. Hold. I hunger. Very well. Agreed. Very well. You thought of that. Agreed. That was my plan. Die. Unstoppable rages. Agreed. I hunger. Thought of that. That was my plan.
Our warriors have engaged the enemy.
What?
Our allies' town needs help.
Very well. Thy bidding, Master. Greetings. That was my plan. You thought of that? That was my plan.